Hey everybody, Real with Wes. Welcome to Monday. Hope you guys caught this past weekend service. Pastor had a life-changing word. And then, of course, Saturday night I started off a new series. I want you guys to check in with that. So it's going to be a two-part, so it's probably going to be out of that. But check that out. And, man, it's talking about being present and in the moment. It's really talking about your headspace, which kind of leads to what I'm going into this week with Real with Wes. Of course, October the 16th. You didn't know we're having an in-person service, 17th year anniversary to celebrate World Changers Church, New York. So come out, Centennial Memorial Temple, same place we were last time. You can check on the post on this Instagram, Facebook page, YouTube. I think we about got Facebook figured out. It's been acting still real funny on the post, but I think we've been able to get them up. But look on our social media pages. You'll see the information. Doors open at 5 o'clock. Hope to see you guys there. So getting in this week, I'm talking about headspace. Man, I'm going to just title it that this week if you want to talk about it. Real with Wes, talking about headspace. One thing I've been having to really watch myself and guard myself with my own headspace and focusing more in that is not letting other people determine my headspace. Me staying in the driver's seat of what goes on here. I cannot control everything going out around me. I always talk about this. You can control the internal things, which does highly impact the external things. You cannot control other people, even though as hard as we try, our job and responsibility that God has called us to be is controlling ourselves. Ultimately is what that is. Not everyone around us. So our determination has to be, I got to control me because I can do that. God has told me to. God has given me the power to, and I have to determine what this place is going to be. And I cannot let other people's behavior determine who I'm going to be every day. This thing hit me, we talk about being more like God and learning how he is. The beautiful thing I realized, our behavior, good or bad, does not determine God's behavior. That really messes people up when they hear that. But when you understand grace and you really get into the fullness of God's love, I mean, think about it. The whole thing of the cross, if that was totally determined by God, by people's behavior, God would not have came down. So God is good because he is good. And as Christians, this performance message is really so fueled with arrogance, thinking that in some way we could tell God whether he'd be good or not by us. God is good, and he is good to us because God is just being God. And he doesn't know how to be anything else, and he isn't anything else. And that's what it is. And when I started realizing that, I was like, well, I want to reflect that in my life. And you started judging that, and you started putting yourself to it, and you realize, well, I need God to do that, first of all, in the grace of God. And I realized I am not perfect, but this is the opportunity to mature. Where I've realized so many days I've allowed my behavior, my mood, and my actions to be determined whether somebody else treated me good or not. And we don't like having that hard conversation. But I realized how much it kept my headspace in a toxic place where I have to continuously, and I have not figured this out, guys, all the fullness. Then why are you telling us about it? No, I've walked it out far enough to figure out it works, by the way. I have not practiced it enough to mature fully in this. One, I don't think you ever arrive, but I have practiced it enough to realize, man, it does make a huge difference. And what I mostly say is I'm sympathetic to the fact is it can be tough some days because people will do some stuff that is just like, and we'll get into that this week. But I just want to lay this first part to start off the whole week. The same way God does not allow our bad behavior to determine whether he's good or not. It's the same way we got to be towards people. Towards ourselves and towards people. But it starts here in the headspace. When you can allow, you can say, you know what, no matter what you do, I'm still going to be me. It keeps you out of that toxic headspace. It takes you out of anger, depression, all these different toxic emotions. It doesn't mean what they're doing is right. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't mean any of those things. It says, you don't control me though. You take back that control of your own life and you say, I'm in the driver's seat. I'm going to choose to be happy today because my happiness belongs to me. I'm going to choose to live in peace today because my peace belongs to me. I'm going to choose to be good because the goodness that God has shown me belongs to me, and I determine how I'm going to do that. And it's also, we'll get into it, that's a responsibility. So I want to set this mindset. If you want to live in this good headspace, in a healthy headspace, You've got to stop letting other people's behavior determine your headspace. And you just got to make a quality decision. God's good. That determines my headspace. That's the anchor that holds me, is remembering God's good to me no matter what. And I'm not going to let other people's shortcomings or anything like that determine my behavior. I'm going to choose to do my best every day to treat people good like God treats me. All right, that's all I got. That'll help you get to headspace right, though. Just starting off, just committing to this week with me to walk this out as we break this down each week. But man, don't let other things and other people's behavior control your headspace, your happiness, your behavior, any of that. And we'll get into what that looks like a little more this week. Man, choose to amplify the love of God and the light of God and let it shine on people, because, man, people notice when you treat people good, just like God treats me good when I don't do good. Man, that's the difference that the world is looking for. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. Catch you tomorrow.